Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, whatever time zone that you are catching us. We greatly appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure that you like the content, hit that subscribe button, and also share the content. Okay, we greatly appreciate all of you that share the content. Help us turn this plaque right here above my shoulder into a silver play button. We want to be the biggest in the fantasy industry, and I feel like we have some really good takes and some really dope information here. Be sure to also drop a comment as well. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. It's your boy RumboyzRobbie. Whoa, holy shit. It's your boy RumboyzRobbie. Thank you guys for joining me this afternoon. I am so excited for another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly. All right, I'm so excited for another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly. What are we, episode 10 now? Look, Fantasy Football Friendly, where we sit back, we look at every single NFL offense, and we give them a fantasy football grade based off of how friendly they may or may not be. Okay, despite my own fandom as an actual NFL fan, I do remove that because, hey, I got to give you guys information. I got to give you guys analysis. It's all about helping you guys win that cash, helping you guys win those trophies here at the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Give us a subscribe. Come on. Give us a subscribe. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. Shop GLD. Get fresh just like me. Link is down below in the description. You already know. I'm rocking the Commanders chain. Football season's in full effect. Let's go. We are talking about the Dallas Cowboys today. Again, I purposely prefaced in the beginning, all biases are removed when doing this episode. I broke down the Philadelphia Eagles, and you guys seem to have no problems with the way that I did that. So let's get into the Dallas Cowboys. Starting off with the quarterback position, Dak Prescott is consensus QB 10, finished last year QB 3. All right. Definitely a impressive season by Dak Prescott, probably maybe his best season arguably ever, especially bouncing back from that 2022, injury-riddled season to come back and lead it all NFL quarterbacks in touchdown passes with 36, complete 410 completions, and then finishing as QB3 in fantasy scoring like I just mentioned. You got to love being able to get Dak Prescott. The knock on Dak Prescott isn't anything to do with Dak himself. All right. This may, according to Dak Prescott, could very well possibly be his last season with a star on the side of his helmet. He's gone on record to say when he looks at the greats that have been above him, they've all played for two teams. So this isn't a future that is far-fetched for him. All right. The fall off is the weapons around Dak, which we'll get more deeper into. This team really, in terms of a fantasy football standpoint, has three key pieces that I want you to hone in on. Dak Prescott being one of them. He ranked second in completion percentage, 69.5%, and at least that's just among QBs with at least 6 starts. Second in passer rating, 105.9, and 6th in yards per attempt, 7.7. All right. All of this is because he has CeeDee Lamb. Okay. And actually, I'll just get right in to CeeDee Lamb right now. I'll go ahead and I'll mix up the order here on Fantasy Football Friendly. Dak threw for 4,000 plus yards last year. All right. Like damn near close to 5,000 yards last year. Let's be frank. Let's be honest. Let's keep it real. CeeDee was targeted 181 times, caught 135 balls, had 1,749 yards, almost 1,800 fucking yards of that. What Dak Prescott threw of what 4,700. I want to let me just double check here. 4,516. I'm sorry, 4,516. So just damn near almost 500 yards shy, give or take, from a 5,000-yard passing season. CeeDee Lamb was damn near the recipient of close to 18,000 yards of that with 12 touchdowns. He's consensus wide receiver 1. All right. Being able to replicate being the one year in, year out is tough. All right. It is definitely tough. Could it happen again? Yes. All right. But Lamb has been in the league a total of 4 seasons. And that was his first wide receiver 1 season. With all of the commotion and things that are happening in Dallas and with the way that the future is looking, the way that Jerry Jones is handling things, I was going to see how far I could make it into this episode without acknowledging Jerry Jones, but I feel like you can't talk about the Dallas Cowboys without that. When you look at how things are being handled, I know that there is a rumor out there. I am saying this as a rumor because I do not know how valid this source is. As you see, I ain't even all right, I ain't even hit the like button, but there is a rumor out there. Apparently, this is a NFL insider. I've never heard of this person. Cowboys are closing in on a 4-year extension with wide receiver CeeDee Lamb worth between 136 and 138 million. That's not even typed like an official NFL tweet, like an official NFL insider tweet. If they are paying CD, then to me, in my opinion, that means that next year Dak is definitely out the door and possibly going to find a new home. And that also points to on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to sign Micah Parsons. With that being said and stated, Lamb surpassed 100 receiving yards in 7 of his final 12 games, including a monstrous 227-yard performance in Week 17. It's Week 17. I mean, yeah, that's your championship week. The opposing side is running like practically no one. Last year, among 81 qualifying receivers, he ranked 4th in target share of 29.2%, 5th in yards per route run, 2.90, and 8th in first down per route run per fantasy points data. Because there's no one else in the wide receiver room for Dallas, like, I don't care about Brandon Cooks. Okay. I don't care about Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks, who are fighting for wide receiver 3 market share, wide receiver 4 market share. You're not drafting either of those guys. There's no point in us wasting our fucking breath. You may take a flyer on Brandon Cooks at 657 yards, 8 touchdowns last season. It's super touchdown dependent there with Brandon Cooks. He played 16 games, was targeted 81 times, caught 54. Like, you're not getting 1,000 receiving yard seasons out of Cooks. He's a wide receiver 3 to a flex play on your roster at best. So CD really is the only target in the passing game outside of another guy that we're going to talk about, the tight end position later on, that I really want you to focus on. Let's work our way back really quick from CeeDee Lamb. Enough about CeeDee Lamb. It's justified to grab CD, though I think you're going to get wide receiver 1. I would argue that Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill have entered the chat and have something to say about that. Let's look at the running back situation in Dallas. Regal Dowdle, RB44. There's not really much that I want to hone in on with Dowdle. I like him as a depth piece. I don't even see you playing him as a flex. I mean, maybe you play him as a flex, matchup dependent, but he's going to be fighting with Zeke, who's RB37 per consensus. Dowdle's RB44, and I think that because he is the younger back, not by much at 26 years old, but because he is the younger back, he's likely to be the favorite to maybe get those RB1 carries. Last year, among 53 qualifying backs, he ranked 16th in yards after contact per attempt, while also having the 23rd lowest stuff rate. So he doesn't get stuffed at the line very often. He really can, push through and, gain that extra yard or two, which I do like. We're not getting him tackled, behind the line of scrimmage fairly often. Comparisons to Madison per the homie D-Bro over at Fantasy Pros is an interesting take. I could kind of see that. Daddle's interesting. RB3, RB4, like I said, I see him as a depth piece. If he ends up snatching the job from Elliott, that could be that could make things very interesting. You want me to say some nice things about Dowdle? 21.8% snap share last season. Not necessarily great, but 0.82 fantasy points. Given the opportunities that he was given, 26 in league, RB3, kind of tier. 4.8 yards per touch, like we mentioned, 23rd lowest in the league there. It's RB2, kind of range. 20.8% juke rate, 18th in the league. 3.9 yards created after the touch, 9th in league. That's more around, RB1. So there are Rigo Dowdle could possibly maybe even find himself in a diamond in the rough category, but I'm saying that he could take the job from Zeke. Zeke wasn't great. He's 29, going to be 30 this year. I feel like this is just kind of like almost similar to how, remember when Emmitt Smith was with the Cardinals for like that little stint and then came back to Dallas? I feel like this is almost similar to that, except Zeke is actually going to play that season, play a season. We're not going to talk about Zeke. I'm not doing that. 45th in missed tackles forced and 43rd in yards after contact, out of 49 qualifying backs. It's Dowdle's backfield, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the key piece that I really, really want you guys to be focusing on, the third key piece of this offense. Backfield has no value, in my opinion. The wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s, in my opinion, don't really hold much value. But here's where you can get value, and that's Jake Ferguson, because he's realistically the wide receiver 2 in this offense. Cheers. This is where I feel like, mid-range tight end, truthers, mid-range tight end guys are going to love this. All right. Last year, you were getting him about tight end 25. Well, he finished tight end 9 in PPR scoring. So you're looking at tight end 10 value here on Fergie. Finished with 71 catches for 761 yards, 5 touchdowns. If I could get just that exactly again, damn near, I'm with it. Do I think that he climbs the tight end fantasy rankings anywhere probably beyond that? Maybe at best a tight end 8 finish, which I'm fine with. Maybe he finishes just a spot above tight end 9, which is what he finished last year. If his ADP this year is around tight end 10 per consensus. I'm willing to draft Jake Ferguson. He is the only other value on this team that's not named Dak Prescott, that's not named CeeDee Lamb. Really quick, getting into depth concerns. I don't like any of the other receivers. The running backs behind Dowdle and Elliott aren't great options. Sorry, Deuce Vaughn. We're just going to keep that short, simple, and sweet there. Let's just get into the fantasy football grade of this team. Look, I really, really love what, and I say this, Dan Orlovsky said this. All right, this is per Pro Football Network is where I got this. They're content on mediocrity. They'd rather be relevant than be remembered. Well, you're being remembered for your mediocrity. I understand that Jerry feels like, oh, well, I can see what the future of the cap space is going to be like, and yada yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not buying that. Maybe he turns out to be right about that. I don't know, to be personal, to be completely honest with you. Your two backs last year finished as what? Dowdle finished as RB50, Zeke finished as RB30. Not a fan. CD finished wide receiver 1 because that's all that Dallas really had. So he got force fed outside of Jake Ferguson. Ferguson, great tight end. Wide receiver 2s need to step up. They need to step up in order for this team to be relevant and win football games. This is the exact same team that Dallas had last year. And I feel like that was the best version of that Dallas Cowboys team that we were going to get. I'm giving them a fantasy football friendly grade of a D+. Like because like if something happens to Dak, you're screwed. You know, and this offense is screwed. If something happens to CD, you know, God forbid, like, you know, knock on wood, like you're screwed for the value that you got them, and then, you know, that whole offense is screwed. Like they could, you know, manage, but I mean it's just bad. It's just bad. It's bad. I don't like it. If y'all want to make it about, you know, my bias or my fandom as a Commanders fan, like whatever, I'm accepting all smoke in the comments. Philadelphia improved. Let's just talk about the NFC East and then fantasy football. I feel like Philadelphia significantly better than Dallas. It's just everything just hinges on those 3 players, and let's be realistic, it's really only 2. Like I'm okay if I don't get Jake Ferguson and like I end up with like Dalton Schultz. Like I'm okay with that, you know, even though that's a shit ton of mouths to feed in Houston. Like I don't know what pieces from this offense that you want that's not CD or Dak outside of that, you know. So fantasy football friendly grade D+. Hey, hate it, love it. I'm accepting smoke down in the comments. Drop a comment below. Like, comment, share the content. This is the lowest grade throughout this series that we've given. And I ain't even have to start off this episode with fuck the Cowboys. You guys did it to yourself. Jerry, good job. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. All the Rum boys and girls, what it do. Dilly dilly. We love and appreciate all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, share.